What up, F1 fans? My name is Justin, and I'm here to talk about the Australian Grand Prix that took place earlier today. What can you say about that one? Entertaining, action-packed, just a good race all around. Jenson Button takes the win from Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, splitting the two McLarens successfully in his Red Bull. Fourth place, Mark Webber. Could have done a little bit better, found he was a bit too passive. I mean, he had plenty of opportunities to overtake. I don't know if it was Hamilton or Rosberg, can't remember, but I feel like he could have had a chance at the podium. Fifth place, Fernando Alonso, my boy. Oh, Alonso. Always outperforming a car, even though it's a total shitbox. So, good effort by him. Sixth place, of course, Kamui Kobayashi, one of my other favorites. Great race for Sauber all around. Seventh, Kimi Räikkönen. Iceman's back, baby. Despite his little kerfuffle with the blue flags. I'm sorry, that was a freaking classic. That made my entire day. Welcome back, Iceman, that's all I can say. Anyway, 8th place belongs to Sergio Perez, who drove another fantastic Australian Grand Prix. The kid surprises me, really. He did the same exact thing last year, where he drove the entire race only doing one stop, and finished 7th, but unfortunately him and Kobayashi were disqualified last year, which, you know, sucked. But it's good to see him back on form. 9th place belongs to Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo, okay. It's Ricardo. It's pronounced Ricardo. Yeah, fantastic race by that youngster. 10th place belongs to Paul di Resta, who didn't exactly have a great weekend. As we can clearly see, qualified about 15th, I believe, and then finished 10th, thanks to that last-minute crash by Pastor Maldonado, who was fighting with Alonso for 5th place. And really sucks. It's unfortunate. That Williams just... What the f*** I still have my sunglasses on. So yeah, he was really hauling Alonso's ass. I was surprised. That Williams looked bulletproof, which was kind of like makes the accident seem all that much weirder, because he didn't seem to go that wide onto the curb, and then he just lost control and give a pretty good tank slap to that wall. You could factor in at the fact that, like, it was late in the race, the tires were really worn out, but I don't know. Because when he was catching Alonso, showed a couple of onboard shots with him, the downforce looked flawless on that Williams, while Alonso was like, well, the Ferrari, acting like a freaking, like, snake the entire way through the weekend. You know, it sucks for him, but I think he'll be back. Speaking of his teammate, well, their teammates, rather, Bruno Senna not really having a good race. He was involved in a first-lap collision with one of the Toro Rossos, and nearly collected Kobayashi, who said he was lucky to escape that, and ended up finishing 6th. And then Felipe Massa. Dare I even, like, bring up that name? What the fuck is he still doing at Ferrari? Well, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be that hard on him. I mean, it's one race. He did drive like shit. He was nowhere near Alonso's pace. He was battling with the Toro Rossos in like 15th. Yeah, just unfortunate. Anyways, getting back to them, they had an unfortunate collision at the end of the race, which forced both of them to retire. Massa immediately, and Senna a few laps later. So not a really good start for those two. And what else do we have? Oh, speaking of Massa and Senna, we also had the Caterham team. Not such a bad debut. They showed pretty good pace, I find. Especially Petrov before he was pulled over at the straight there with, I don't know if it was an engine problem, I'm not sure. It looks something mechanical, but even at one point he said he was catching Massa and Senna, maybe, which seems a little hard to believe, but, you know, anything's possible. Caterham, they talk big, they talk a big game, and they're really, they're showing it. New midfield contenders right there. Fortunately, their race didn't end that well. Petrov, I just mentioned, was running a couple of positions below the points until he had to pull over to the straight, and then while the safety car was deployed because of that, Kovalainen, during that period, had to pull into the pits and retire for some problem. So, you know, they showed good pace, but I'm sure it's not the finish that they wanted. Which sucks, but, you know, they'll be back next time. Speaking of Who should I go on to? Hispania. Oh wait, they weren't even there. Lotus. Romain Grosjean. Great qualifying. Showed an impressive pace compared to the lughead he was back in '09. Really didn't do much for Renault. Not bad. I was impressed with what Grosjean did, qualifying third. He didn't get a great start though, unfortunately for him. Kimi Räikkönen, though, got a great start from 18th, was 12th in a matter of laps. And on the third lap, unfortunately, Grosjean had a tangle with Pastor Maldonado, which I don't know how to weigh that one. It seems pretty 50-50 to me. You can argue that Maldonado was a bit exuberant, you could say. He just went while the door was being shut, or maybe Grosjean, who obviously saw him coming, should have let him go. Grosjean blazing Maldonado. I don't know what Pastor's view on it is, but I don't know what your guys' view on it is. Feel free to talk about that, but I don't know. To me, it's 50-50, complete racing incident. Sucks for Grosjean because he could have finished really well. On to Mercedes. Oh my god, am I so disappointed to see them a double DNF. I was really excited watching Vettel and Schumacher fight it out on the track, but unfortunately it didn't last too long as Schumacher retired quite early on in the race from what was an apparent gearbox problem, I believe. Just completely unfortunate. It was really, I don't think he would have gotten a podium, but it would have just been nice to see him like battle it out on the track like his old self. It would have been great. But then that brings me to Nico Rosberg, who had a pretty difficult race. He struggled with Alonso and came under a lot of pressure from Webber early on. Unfortunately, he fell back to about 8th in that big battle train that involved both Saubers, both Toro Rossos. Unfortunately, he had a last lap collision with Perez, and he finished out of the points, way out of the points, 12th, which is really unfortunate for Mercedes because they haven't really been finding much luck ever since they switched from Brawn. So anyway, it was great to see Button get his third. This is his third win in the last 4 years at Melbourne, which is pretty awesome. Sebastian Vettel, good race. In second, didn't show a lot of pace in qualifying as Red Bull really struggled. 5th and 6th. Vettel qualified 6th, but put in an impressive performance, especially putting on a really nice move. And I think it was Rosberg on the outside. That was just awesome. It proves the kid can race and drive. Hamilton a bit disappointing. He on the last step of the podium, which everybody expected him to completely dominate the race. Well, from what I hear, they expected him to dominate. Fortunately, he didn't get a great start. He was passed by Jenson Button at the first corner, where Button did not look back after that. And Hamilton was spent playing catch-up with Vettel and Button for most of the race. So, nonetheless, I mean, McLaren still looked like a force to be reckoned with. And Red Bull, they seem to be in the hunt. Ferrari keeps surprising. And I might as well tell you people this. My predictions for the World Championship. Who do I think is going to be the 2012 Formula 1 World Champion? Who's going to be the World Champion? Fernando f***ing Alonso? No, I'm kidding. I mean, well, it would be nice. And from a biased point of view, I'm a big Ferrari fan. I would like to see Fernando Alonso, as he is Ferrari's only driver practically, to win the championship, but unfortunately, from the testing from this weekend, they don't seem to really have the whole package together. So, that's too bad. From a biased point of view, like I said, I want to see Alonso win the championship, but realistically speaking, I don't think that's going to be the case. Realistically speaking, I believe that it is going to be a showdown between Sebastian Vettel and the two McLaren drivers, Jenson Button and Lewis Hamilton. And my prediction is it will be a really tight battle, as we saw with the Australian Grand Prix. It's going to be a really tight battle, but I think that it's going to be a third straight for Sebastian Vettel, with him just edging out Jenson Button. So, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my review, and see y'all later. Next week, Malaysia.